Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is the Weekend Ads episode for the fourth week of the fantasy hockey season. Now, week 4 has been a fun week all around in the NHL, from Tage Thompson's 6-point night to Ullmark's comeback win after being pulled to make himself undefeated still. Absolutely crazy week so far this week, and I'm expecting this weekend to be no different. Now, as usual, guys, I'm going to be going through the schedule for this weekend, and then I'm going to be suggesting players to add for the different combinations of days. Players that play both Friday and Saturday, Friday and Sunday, and then Saturday and Sunday for whatever suits your needs best for you. And then I'm going to be going through different categories: shots on goals, blocks, hits, and face-off wins, to make sure that you're able to add players for your categories that you need to catch up on in your categories leagues. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you do want to take your support to the next level. The link to my Patreon is in the description below. Let's jump right into it now. Let's take a look at the schedule for the weekend. And on Friday, we've got only 2 games. On Saturday, we've got 14. And then on Sunday, we've got 3. So clearly, there are 2 nights that are a lot less busy than another, right? Saturday's super busy. So if you look in your lineup, odds are it's pretty full. I'm still going to be suggesting players that play both Friday and Saturday, and then Saturday and Sunday, just in case you do have room in your lineup. But for the most part, you're probably going to want to pay attention to the Friday and Sunday ads specifically for players that play both of those days. But if you are looking for players that play both Friday and Saturday, the 3 teams that meet those conditions are Buffalo, Colorado, and Columbus. They play back-to-back games Friday and Saturday. So number 1 guy that I would grab is Jeff Skinner of the Buffalo Sabres, playing on the top line with Tage Thompson and Kyle Okposo. Looking pretty good as of late. Definitely the best ad for those 2 days. Then Arturi Lehkonen, been a little bit colder as of late, but is still playing on the top power play in Colorado, and as long as he's there, he's still got value and definitely has potential to put up quite a few points. Kyle Okposo is the next best guy to add, only 3% rostered, but is playing on that top line with Tage Thompson and Jeff Skinner, and that line is very hot right now. Then I have Dylan Cousins, who's been also very, very hot, playing on the second line with JJ Peterka and with Alex Tuch. It's a pretty good line. Definitely like that deployment. Then Victor Olofsson playing on the third line with Casey Middlestat and with Jack Coyne. That's also not a terrible line. Like that deployment as well. Evan Rodriguez, if Valeri Nichushkin is not ready to go, he's been playing on the top line with McKinnon and Rantanen, which is an absolutely crazy deployment. Also getting top power play time. So if Nichushkin misses, he's definitely a really good ad. You can even raise him maybe a couple spots on this list. If Nichushkin does play, Rodriguez is significantly less valuable. He hasn't done a whole lot this season without being on that top line. Then Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I think he's going to regain his spot on the top line between Gaudreau and Laine. We'll have to see how the Blue Jackets end up juggling their lines, but he's been pretty consistent, giving a pretty safe floor every single night. Hits a decent amount, blocks a couple shots per game, and for a forward, that's really good, and he shoots the puck a decent amount as well. Then Jack Roslovic of the Columbus Blue Jackets, only 6% rostered, has been manning the top line with Gaudreau and Laine. We'll see if that ends up sticking for the series that they're about to play in Finland. If it does, he's definitely got some value despite him not really doing much with that deployment. Then Casey Middlestat has been doing pretty decently on that line that I already mentioned with Olofsson and with Jack Quinn. Kent Johnson has been doing pretty decently. Jakub Voracek is getting top power play time. He's been doing okay as well. Not my favorite ad, but at this point in this list, that's pretty much where he belongs. JJ Peterka, who I already said, is playing on the second line with Dylan Cousins and Alex Tuch. Got an assist last game, so not the worst ad in the world. Gustav Nyquist, also someone from Columbus, another mediocre player that is getting top 6 deployment, so definitely could potentially put up a point. And then Jack Quinn of the Buffalo Sabres is the last guy in the Buffalo top 9, who I haven't mentioned, is also an okay ad if you're looking for someone who potentially could score a goal. On to the most important part of this video, and players that play both Friday and Sunday. You probably have a lot of room in your lineup on those days, whereas you probably don't have a whole lot of room on Saturday. So if you want a player that plays both Friday and Sunday to make sure that you can fit him in your lineup for 2 games, you're going to be looking at the Carolina Hurricanes. And that's it. They're the only team that play both Friday and Sunday this weekend, unfortunately. So usually I don't include defensemen in these kind of lists, but because we're only looking at Carolina, I'm going to be including defensemen because some defensemen on their team are more worth picking up than some of their forwards. The best guy to be picking up, obviously, is Martin Necas, who's been absolutely fantastic. A little bit over 60% owned at this point, but if he's somehow available in your league, he's definitely the guy to be picking up to help you win this week. And then Brady Shea, who's honestly looked pretty good this year. He's been putting up points every once in a while, putting up some decent peripherals. He's someone that I don't mind adding for this weekend. Then Seth Jarvis, who honestly has been really, really disappointing this year, but he continues to see top-line deployment alongside Teravainen and Aho, and as long as he does, he's still someone who could potentially explode at any moment. Then Jacob Slavin, who hasn't been that incredible this year, honestly. I'm pretty disappointed by him overall, but he is still putting up decent peripherals and always has the chance to put up points with the amount of minutes he plays. He would be the next guy that I add. Then Jordan Staal, who plays the third line center for Carolina. Not someone who's overly offensive, but he's someone who hits a decent amount, which gives a safe-ish floor there, and always could put up a point on any given night. Then Jesperi Kotkaniemi actually mans the second line between Necas and Svechnikov, and unlike those two guys, he hasn't been doing a whole lot offensively this season, but playing between those two guys, he's definitely got the chance to put up points every single night. And then Jesper Fast plays on the third line with Jordan Staal, and he's been kind of decent lately. If you're watching this video a little bit later, you may need a guy to stream for Saturday and Sunday games. Now, there are 4 teams that play both Saturday and Sunday. Those teams are Anaheim, Detroit, Florida, and Toronto. Number one guy that I would stream would be Carter Verhaeghe of the Florida Panthers, playing on the top line with Barkov and with Tkachuk, and lately he's been on a roll. Definitely the number one guy that I would add. Then David Perron, who's been playing on the second line with Detroit, always a solid player, always has the opportunity to put up points there. Sam Bennett playing on the second line with Sam Reinhart on Florida. He's been not that amazing, but the peripherals have been there, hits and shots, and the points should start coming. Anton Lundell is the next best guy that I would add, playing on the third line in Florida with Colin White and Luostarinen. He hasn't been that amazing, but definitely has the opportunity to put up points every single night. Lucas Raymond playing on the top line once again with Dylan Larkin. Hasn't been that good this year, honestly, guys, but if I had to choose someone, it would be him over any guys below him on this list. Then I'd go Adam Ernie, who's actually also playing on the top line with Larkin and with Lucas Raymond, and he has been pretty hot lately, so I don't mind that ad, and he's only 1% rostered. Then I have Frank Vatrano of the Anaheim Ducks, who's been one of the only Ducks who's really been doing anything, putting up some decent peripherals with the shots on goals. And he's not producing that much offensively, but he's one of the better players for Anaheim, and he's the next best guy that I would add. Then I have Nick Robertson on this list, but that only applies if he's actually playing in the top 6 in Toronto. They're constantly shuffling their lines, and on the night that I'm recording this, he's actually a healthy scratch. So make sure to check where he is in the lines before you consider picking him up, because if he's obviously being scratched or he's playing on the bottom line or whatever, he's not worth picking up. Then I have Alexander Kerfoot, who's playing on the second line with Tavares and Nylander, and if he does stay there, it's pretty good deployment. Then on this list, you see Mason McTavish at number 10. He's honestly been really disappointing, and it looks like he's actually playing on the fourth line in Anaheim. So I might actually replace him on this list with Max Comtois, who's actually getting a spot on the top line with Strome and Troy Terry at the moment. If Comtois sticks in that spot, he's the guy who I'd pick here at number 10. But if McTavish gets moved back up, he would be the guy that I would pick up there. Then Colin White and Eetu Luostarinen, who play on the third line in Florida, who've honestly both been pretty solid point-wise this year. Just peripherals, don't expect a whole lot from them. If they don't put up a point, they're kind of going to bust for you. But at this point, at 2% roster, you're not going to get a whole lot much more than that. Then Adam Henrique plays on the second line with Zegras and Vatrano. And then Ryan Strome plays on the top line with Comtois and Terry in Anaheim. If you're looking for a defenseman to grab for this weekend, the number one guy to grab is Brandon Montour of the Florida Panthers. And his rostership percentage has been going up like crazy. I didn't even bother putting a percentage here because it's just going up like crazy. There's not going to be a number that's going to stop at. So for now, I'm just going to leave that blank. But he's been absolutely insane, playing on the top power play in Florida, doing really well, putting up some nice shots on goals, peripherals, and has been putting up a lot of points. Absolutely love him. Definitely the best defenseman add for this weekend. Phil Pronek would be the next guy on my list. He's been getting a decent amount of points playing on that top power play in Detroit. Brady Shea, who I already mentioned, has been doing pretty well, actually putting up points despite not getting really any power play time, putting up some okay peripherals as well. Jacob Slavin, who I also already mentioned, has been kind of disappointing, but the peripherals are still kind of there. Mark Giordano hasn't put up that many points, but obviously always has the chance to do so, and been putting up some okay block shots peripherals as well. Ben Sherratt, nothing too special. Some peripherals, some points, but nothing too special. Sam Girard, same kind of thing. Second power play. He's got to put a point for you or he's going to bust. Olimata has actually been pretty good this year, but I don't know how that's going to end up being consistent for him. He's not really getting any power play time, so the points are kind of just fluke right now, but if you want to bank on him continuing that streak, go ahead and do so. And then Brett Pesce of the Carolina Hurricanes, who's putting up just okay peripherals, enough for you to roster if you're super desperate for a defenseman for this weekend. If you're looking to stream a goalie on Sunday, there are 3 guys that may end up getting the start on Sunday that are low owned. The number 1 guy that I would stream if he ends up getting the start is Eric Colgren, who's starting against Carolina on Sunday, unless he starts Saturday against Boston. Both very, very tough games for Toronto. And then Anthony Stolarz of the Anaheim Ducks could end up getting Florida on Sunday, although Anaheim does play Saturday against San Jose, so you'd think that they would give the easier game to the backup, but in this case they may not, because Gibson has been playing so bad they may want to end up giving him the easier game for him to get his momentum back and then end up giving Stolarz the game on Sunday. So I think that's what might end up happening. So if Stolarz does start, he's the next best guy to grab here. And then Alex Nedeljkovic, who's just been absolutely atrocious lately, but could end up getting the New York Rangers on Sunday. Either that or he's going to get the New York Islanders on Saturday. He'll get one of those 2 games. Jumping into the categories league section of this video now, and if you need shots on goal for this weekend, number 1 guy to grab would be Sam Bennett, who shoots the puck 3.6 times per game. Then Olofsson 3.2, Vetrano 3.1, Boone Jenner 3.1, and then I would go with Jeff Skinner, who's only shooting 2.7, but he's someone who finished among the league leaders in shots per game last year. So he's definitely someone whose shot volume should go up. Then Martin Necas 2.9, Dylan Cousins 2.9, Montour 2.9, and Anton Lundell 2.6. If you need blocks, the pickings are slim with the teams that play 2 games this weekend. The number 1 guy to add would be Justin Hall, who's blocking 2.7 shots per game, so he'd get you about 5 blocks over the course of 2 games. But the next best guy to stream is actually Alec Martinez, who's blocking 4.5 shots per game. Vegas only plays 1 game this weekend, but he's blocking so many shots that he's actually the next best guy to add, because he's going to get more than the next guys on this list, which is absolutely crazy. The next best guys to add would be Kulikov, who blocks 2.2, Giordano 2.1, Mauda 2.0, Goodbranson 1.9, and Peak 1.9. If you need hits, the number 1 guy to add is Radko Gudas. Despite him not hitting that much this year, I definitely expect him to get going soon. He's been hitting 2.7 times per game. That's going to go up. Dryden Hunt's been hitting 3.5, Kubel 3.5, Ernie 3.3, Rasmussen 2.7, Bennett 2.7, and Robert Haig 2.6. You need face-off wins. The number 1 guy to add is Boone Jenner. Been winning 11.7 face-offs per game. Ryan Strome 9.6, Stahl 7.6, Cousins 7.2, Middlestat 7.1, Corrali 7.1, David Kemp 7.0, Rostovic 7.0, and then JT Compher 7.0 as well. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And if you do want to take your sport to the next level, you can follow me on Patreon. The link is in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.